I love Ireland. So you've got your 110, 220. So I think that was an element of freedom of electricity, but now everything's more controlled and an EMP's shitstorm waiting to happen. It's better that you use it on the 220. Is that 220? No, I was showing you the 110. Better to use it on the 220. Now, what I love about this, you can see this looks like me and I look like this. Can you see there's a striking similarity? And there's a striking similarity. You can't make it up. Look. You got, man, honestly, triggered people. Like, he was so rude. I'm like, man, just get out of here. If you're not gonna, I'm not really a text person. So if I reply to you on text, my text social media behavior is appallingly rude because I'm just not a text person. It gets lost in translation. All I was saying was you are only at liberty to what you can source. I had an American guy going to me, where do you get them from? Well, I'm not going to give him my trade secrets, am I? I'm not going to say, oh, I get them from here. Because I'm a collector and I want the machines for my collection, and I'll offer sets and offer my expertise, because at this point, I suppose I am slowly becoming a master of the trade as I'm learning what I like and what I don't like. But you come to me if you like Zeish. You might be like, I don't like you, Zeish. You're too raw. You're too like Newport. You're a little bit of a scallywag. I'm going to go to someone who's a little bit more pompous and speaks like this. Or I'm going to go to Doctor of Germany, or whatever. I'm going to go where, and that's your freedom. That's your freedom. I have people coming to me, they're shopping around. They'll come to us, they'll go to this person over there, they'll go to that person, they'll go all over the shop. And then they'll decide who they want to, invest in. Because actually, the sale with Zeish is the beginning. Because I've then got to look after you, aftercare and all that kind of stuff. Oh, my God. So the Felma, horse. That, for me, that enamel, as an antique dealer, that is the price of entry alone. I lived at a 16th century mansion kitchen. He's passed on now. Enamels command high value. As an antique dealer, that's the value for me as a collector. And this German was like, I don't like Felma. I thought, well, maybe you're just not very good at working on Felma, because you've got to then be able to time it. You've got to be able to correctly tune it. Now on there, I need let me show you. Right, so, I've definitely got pattern recognition of what a good Tesla machine is, okay? So let's just get that out of the way. I'm not an expert. I never want to be entitled. I was just joking when I said I was an expert, but I've definitely developed pattern recognition of what this is and what this isn't, where I can have an argument, a constructive argument with a fellow German who's from Germany, and I can share why I love Leipzig machines. And it comes down to the simple this. If you go onto my Facebook, do posts by Zeish Felma, you'll see all the beautiful Felmas that we've sold. That's the Felma. That's why we're Team Rocket Horse. That's why we're Team Rocket Horse, because of this. Yeah. Now in Afghan Pashtun, the colours of our colours are black and silver. I've not made this up. I just went and got that to put it on because I was like, what? You can't make this up. Look. And it got to the point where one day I was wearing green. The green, we'd only ever had one green machine. I'm talking to one of the engineers and I'm like, he's like, Zeish, guess what? We've got another green machine. And I'm like, what? Is this why I'm wearing all green? I was wearing all green. I had a green shirt on. I had a green hat on. I was all in green. I'm now Zeishi 2 hats. No, this is just dawning on me now. Look, you got all this beautiful thing. Now, back to that there, That's a rare earth mineral. That's called the Thor's hammer. Now that Thor's hammer has to hit that rare earth mineral 1/100th of a thousandth of a second because it's high frequency. Something like that. I'm not, you know, then you've got this coil, this iron core with all the secondary windings of there's like miles of copper in that. Then the Germans added this rheostat, which is for like variance of power. So that's an extra something. Now that's what the Germans, that's what I'm saying about the French. The French added stuff. I'm going to show you later because it's right at the bottom. I don't know where that French, yeah, the French machine's right at the bottom, so I can't take it out. But I'm going to explain later in his ignorance and why the French machine is not superior, in my opinion. So you got that. That's an extra. Now that connects to this. That connects to this. See that? So that is giving an extra. It goes along the top of this underneath, like that. You can see it there. See, it's going along. It's so simple, so mechanical, so beautiful. And then this would have been a capacitor, the capacitor. They're usually wax with metal. And we put a new one on. And then in this coil, you got your primary coil and your secondary coil. So one of those coils comes out. One of those coils comes out. Where does it come out? There. So you got your coil there. One of them comes out there to go onto the wand. And then the other one comes out there. If you lose that, if you break that wire, if that wire breaks, you've lost your machine. There, because it's such a fine wire. Such a fine wire. And then look, you've got all that iron core. Now show me the electronics in there. Where's the modern electronics? Where's the circuit board? There isn't any. Do you see? There we go. Now, if I showed you a French machine compared to that, oh my God, it's a disaster. Now, let me show you the inside of a French, give me a second. Now let me show you the inside, and I'll get the French one out later. Now look at this. Wait there, this. Okay, look at that. Right, so that's an ozone generator. That. So it's a housing. It's just a fascia. Some of them just don't make it. Mechanics, beeswax coil, iron core, really simple, like these plates, like mica plates with metals on, radio, see this is like a crystal radio, it is actually wireless telegraphy. That is so simple. You got your rare earth mineral there again, rare earth mineral, Thor's hammer. It's like a steam engine, but it's an electrical steam. Simple. Can you see? Simple. Not complicated at all. If I showed you a French machine now, you'd be like, oh, Zish, I see what you're saying. And then it got worse. The older it got, the newer it got, the more crazier it got, the more complicated it got, the more electronic it went. That's what I was saying. Let me see if I've got one of these. 1 minute. Let me see if I've got. 1 second. Now look at this. Let me see if I can take this off. Is it going to come off? Here we go. Look at this. Right, so some people will say to me, Zish, and I had someone come to me that had bought a cheap one. I've never bought a cheap Violet Ray. It's just because it's not been anything to do with it being cheap. I've sometimes got these like cheap. I don't do anything with these. So you can just go and buy one of these, you know, but I'm a collector and I got obsessed with some of the specific electrodes that I really wanted to collect. And I'm having a real reflection at the moment, but I've got so many individual machines that each one tells a different story, and I actually collect the stories as well. I remember once buying 3 beautiful machines from a doctor's daughter, and she was a doctor, and her granny had it, and it was like 3 generations of machine, and that's what I was actually buying. Now look at this. Again, no modern electric circuit boards. I've seen the inside of a modern one of these. So again, look, here you got your Thor's hammer. You got your Thor's hammer there, like that. And if you get value from here today, you know, feel free to like, share, subscribe. I'm going to put this, right, so this idiot saying, oh, I'm the only person watching on YouTube. 1 o'clock. I put them up here on Facebook and then I can upload them. It's just simple. I'm not the smartest man in the room, so being able to take the Facebook from here and then save it in here and then put it onto YouTube is just better. The reason I created, this is quite important, the reason I started posting up onto YouTube, I was a bit resistant about having another YouTube channel. I'd rather have a Rumble or something like that. I think I'm going to start putting everything onto Rumble. And I was like, I'd rather, because people were coming to me asking me about EE system. I'm not an expert, but I'll go to a few other engineers that are like nano-synthetic biology engineers, and I'll say to them, what do you think about the EE system? I already know what I think. What do you think? What do you think about RFK's new Tesla hairdryer? What do you think about it? I know what I think. What do you think about it? And then my engineers, friends, are actual real, genuine engineers. One's in Switzerland, another somewhere else. I know loads of really interesting engineers. They've got their own different perspectives, and some of them are actually targeted individuals or nano synthetic biology specialists in their engineering field of what they've decided to create. So they've created some analog technology that's kind of anti-nanotechnology. So then I thought, well, right, okay, well, this is interesting. Maybe I should start putting up the TZLA works up onto the YouTube. And so it just organically happened. But most of my interest seems to be in Facebook and Instagram. And now it's starting to come direct through email from the YouTube. So the word is getting out. I had the Telegram for ages, but now I've kind of gone, Telegram's just more of an information station. So I just wanted to clear that bit up. So thank you, everybody that's choosing to invest time here today to watch, learn, educate and empower. I appreciate all of you, every single one of you. Even the trolls. So there you go. So look, so it's the attention to the details. Now inside of here, you've got your capacitor. So this is like a whole unit in one. So you've got a dual Tesla coil. You've got your Tesla coil there. You've got your Tesla coil there. So in the machine, that might be in the machine. So that'll be there, that bit there. And then this bit here then might be, no, actually that bit there is that bit there. And then this bit here, that's the wand. So if you see on the Tesla machine, that'll be like that. On the actual green machine or the Atlas, you've got your wand. And then there's the dual coil. So that's your dual coil. And I don't really sell these. I may often give them away, but I kind of keep one or two. Like this is May 16, 1925. So, but I kind of keep these just because I always keep one. The reason I'm keeping this one is because it came with loads of really interesting literature, and I always want to have one. If I've got two, if I've got three, if I've got four. I just sold two to my friend in Italy, and I gave him an extra one for free. So he could give one to somebody that didn't have much money. So please don't judge me. Don't think you know who I am. I try and give what I can. If I'm selling a machine to someone, and maybe someone hasn't got much money, or they're like, I said to a lady the other day, I said, look, I can either take £100 off, or I can gift you 4 electrodes worth about £75 each. What would you like? And she was like, oh, I'll have £100 off if that's okay. And I gave her free shipping to Japan, and I did the best that I could. I so try and give what I can, and it comes out of my pocket and my children's food because I could sell it. But I want to do the right thing and give things to people and help them out, because a rising tide lifts all ships. So if you get offended by me sharing my passion, and I'm not an expert, that I think the Detroit machines are pretty unique, and there's something about the plasma. I've had people come, they've seen the beautiful, the beautiful machines that are all enamored with, like, nice clean case. And where's that one gone? The nice clean case. Let me show you. I've had people come. I don't do this anymore. I used to have people come here to look at machines. My friend brought someone round, and I had someone come round. I had like loads of like large sets like this, and they were all on the table. It was a little bit intimidating, I won't lie. And I had like about 4 expensive sets, all really clean cases. And he was like, very well respected sound healer. And he was like, this was during just after Corona, and he was like, what? I don't want any of these. I want what you use. And he was going. And I was like, all right, I'll show you what I use. And I got out I said, this is what I use. I said, the cases are a little bit rough, nickel, but they're not, they're beautiful. I said, I got a few of these if anyone wants one. I've always got some. Some of them are not for sale because of the story. I got one called Aunt Lydia. He knows, and it's not for sale because of the story. He was like, I want what you use. So he had one of these. Now, the reason I collect these, I'm not joking you, it's the smell. Anyway, I've got to go. Thank you for watching this today. I hope you got some value. Thank you, Deborah. Nice to have you here. Thank you. I will share for research. It seems Tartaria was real. Yes. Well, Tartaria, just quickly, Tartaria was a region. I was into this as a kid. Tartaria was an area like the Rus. It was a part of Russia. But I get the whole impulse that there was definitely something amazing happening in Australia, Chicago, Detroit. There was definitely some kind of flood, and there was definitely... I would love one of this, Italy. What, you're in Italy, Sicily? Oh, wow. I love the wine that comes out of Pantelleria, and I would love to visit Cafe Sicilia one day with my children. But there's an amazing wine producer called Gabriele Bini that farms the land with his little Jack Russell and horse, and he's got these large amphora that he says you can make love in, and he's got these Zabibi grapes or something. So if you ever get any Gabriele Bini bottles of his frizzy wine, his bubbly wine, I'd love a bottle, because you pay such a premium here in Britain. But I'd love to visit there someday. I've always had this idea that I'm going to go down there with this little sort of French vehicle, like some sort of old school 1900s vehicle, and just fill it up with wine. And I think he does, what else? He does, what's that little fish? Like, he does these little fish. He does an oil of the little fish that you put with lamb. There's a name of a specific little fish, and you put it with lamb. But he makes the oil of that in Pantelleria, and it looks amazing. So anyway, Deborah, lovely to connect. Yeah, if you want a set, DM me. I've got like a really nice little French set, boutique, ready to go, called the XU. They're great little sets, very high powered. I've got some really nice Detroit sets, small ones, big ones. I've got small ones from about 800. I do get people coming up, they haven't got much money. They're like, Zish, can you just make me something up? So I've got £800 machines, £1,800 machines. There's a little bit of maneuverability because I'm a dealer and you can haggle me, or if you want some free electrodes, we can make that happen. And then I've got the real higher tier large sets, like museum grade from the Dutch School of High Frequency. I've got a dual wand one at the moment, a Helios. Got a beautiful green machine sat on a bench in Holland at the moment. I've only ever seen 2 museum grade. I know it's going to find the rightful. For me, the machines find their rightful owners. If you want a French machine, you can have a French machine. I've got one at the moment, and it's really not ready. But I'm more into, if you're like, Zish, I want what you're into. Give me what you got, what you're into. I want one of those. And they're like strong, you know. But the focus back then was strength, health, and beauty. And on that note, I have been living in Pantelleria for 5 years. Gabriel Bini, you're in Pantelleria. That's amazing. There we go. Let's go. Gabriel Bini. I think he worked in fashion. He's now this amazing wine producer. Gabriel Bini. If you go and see him, say Zish off Instagram, says hello. He loves your wine. I've got a bottle of his wine, unopened. Go like that to him. It's the arrow. If the arrow's going in, it's good for the brain. If the arrow's going inverted, it was good for vinegar. And on that note, Brother Zish, from my heart to yours, who cares wins? We do. Make it a great day. This is a little bit of a rant, but I'm trying to get the silver lining out of all of this. It wasn't a stat. He just misinterpreted what I said. And it's real sad that people are so triggered by a little bit of text, when really it's about the interface of human connection and authenticity. That's what AI is, isn't it? Authenticity and integrity. Some of us are a little bit disrupted with that, but we can't change who we are. We can certainly improve and become better. And on that note, make it a great day from my heart to yours. David, do you think a dual wand one is better for a single person to use both wands on a single body at the same time? I think, okay. Okay. Do you think a dual wand one is better for a single person to use both wands? Well, if you look at it from a hermetic, great question, David. If you look at it from a hermetic principle, that one side of the body is electro, the other is magnetic you could read a book by Franz Barden called Frabeto. Each part of the body has got a different charge. So yes, I think that is a good idea, but also you might be, there is always the lock, because you can always take the wand and do the indirect massage where you've got the electrode in here, like this, and you lock. Then you're locking the circuit. But remember that the dual wand ones were often used by practitioners in the Dutch School of High Frequency, or by your physician, chiropractor and naturopath. That's what they were using. So maybe they had a hustle and bustle clinic and they needed to be working on, maybe they were working with energy healing, whatever that is, energy healing, which is raw ether. So they might have had 2 wands, 2 people holding a wand, while they were massaging the patient's head with the nuns, because they often look like nuns, the nurses. So they might have been. So it's for me, it's all open to, well, why did they have a coloured electrode? What was the purpose of why they chose the violet? It's really something for you to have the experience and start to think into, well, what were they doing with that? Why were they saying this? Why are they talking about ether traversing into space in the literature? In very grounded approbation. So it's really one of those things. That's why I always recommend people owning an antique, because then it starts to, you get into it, you start researching, and then you start off on this journey. You might end up with a Maltese cross. You don't stop learning when you get into this. Okay, and on that note, bye for now. I've got to go. I've really got to go. Have a good day. Speak to you soon. Okay, yeah, Deborah, there's literally 10 original Lukovsky unbalanced machines. If you want one, I've got one available right now, and I've got another one or two reserved. So if you would like an original Lukovsky, the true Lukovsky, I have some available. There's 10 left. When they're gone, they're gone. They're the true ones. They're not these stupid Meditech ones. There's only one original person in Europe. I think he's at Croatia, Serbia, RT17. That's an original Lukovsky. And then I've got the one coming in from America. I've got one here right now ready to ship. And that's an original, true multi-wave oscillator, reverse engineered exactly, precisely to the way that Lukovsky built it, with the Eric Dollard add-on to have the option of having it balanced or unbalanced with the PCB ratios by Eric Dollard. Complete Tesla genius. So if you'd like one of those, also you can message me. There's only 10 left. I was doing this with the RPX. We got down to 2, we got down to 3, and then they were gone. I don't know when there's going to be any more. I was telling people, get yourself a true Rife machine, get one. They're gone. We don't know when there's going to be any more. So if you want a true MWO, also message me. I can help. Yeah, anyway, on that note, have a great day. I've got to go. Bye, bye.